zero level damage. So again.
Man, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Like, oh wait, this could be a lot of damage right here. Oh, never mind. I take it back. It's another quick. Wow. Vortex kick. Bart's
And
down.
killing that Bart.
Oh, wow, that's game.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Wbel Season 2. And this week is a very special week because it is the first week of our playoffs. I'm getting really excited to get into these matches, and as always I'm joined with my lovely co-host Maechen.
Hey there, Chisei, how are you?
Doing well. Really excited to get into these matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. So right now in the first seed and second seed, we have Surf Taco and Ram 9 who get a pass for this week. They get a nice week to relax and just watch everyone else duke it out. Whereas we have 4th seed KoushouHaou going against 5th seed Isvar, and also 6th seed Loji going against 3rd seed Kellz this week. Hey, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump straight into the matches.
All right, so in our first playoff matchup of the Enthusiast League, we got the number 3 Feather Force, led by Kellz, bringing into match 1 Black Rose Helena, Kilfei, and Valade, going against the Logical Fallacy, coached by Loji, with Minwoo, A2, and Liarte. This is a best of 3, so this is just their first teams they're bringing. Let's see what they can do. Chisei, get us started.
Yeah, let's go started. Alright, so starting off over here on Kellz' side, bringing the Black Rose Helena and Kilfei as the main damage dealers with the Valade support. This team is deceptively strong. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it before, but it's incredibly tanky and able to deal a lot of damage. And with Valade support, it's going to be very tough to take down. But speaking of tough to take down, over on Loji's side, you have the A2 with the Minwoo support. That's basically an invincible team right there as well. Minwoo's healed plenty of characters from the brink of death this entire season ad nauseum. So, and not only that, she's great at giving haste. So the Liarte getting the first cast of haste here, and also casting her re-raise. She's a very squishy unit, so she's gonna need that re-raise to be able to stay alive in this fight if she gets targeted by these big AoEs coming out from Kellz' side. So, Kilfei using her main defense buff. The main thing that I'm looking at here is over on Loji's side, especially to see if the Liarte gets any sort of value there, because her main value is not her damage, but it's mostly in her status effects. So I'm not really looking to see the amount of damage she's going to be dealing, but I'm more looking to see if she's able to land any of her status effects, and also to see which ones she even has turned on. Oh, and there's a Quicken coming out from the Minwoo. Not something I expected to see. Usually it's mostly just haste and defense and buffs, but going for a Quicken strategy. Unfortunately, the Liarte just moving one step and not getting any value off of that Quicken. A2 coming in for the first damage of the match.
Doing a decent amount versus that shielded Kilfei, but here comes Helena with the Tenebral Rose. This gives me nightmares from year 2 Wotive, but let's see what it does. A big damage on the A2 and heals that Kilfei back up, giving the initial edge over to Kellz' side. A Quicken Liarte again. Let's see what she can do. A Shadow Devour. She did land the poison, I think. I don't think it landed the Immobilize, but that poison may be big. Energy buffer, though. Killing both of those units. They both have re-raise though, but they're on the brink of death, and Minwoo does have a turn coming up. I don't think Valade's going to finish them off, most likely. So Minwoo will get a chance to top off one of them. Let's see. Let me see. I can't tell if they're in AoE because of the map obstacles, the statues.
Oh.
No, she just heals the Liart. It looks like the Liart is wearing the bow tie, so she's getting all the quicken and the heal kind of deal there. And the spell does come off in time to finish off that A2. Let's see. Kilfei is doing her limit burst. You were saying earlier that Liarte is not known for her damage.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have to say anything more.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
That ended very abruptly. I thought I didn't think it was going to end that quickly, but once A2 was down, it just might as well take down the whole team at that point. But Chisei, what do you think?
Yeah, no, exactly what you said. Once the A2 went down, it was kind of curtains. Because, like I said, Liarte wasn't really going to be doing a whole lot of damage. I mean, Liarte went down at the same time, so even if she did survive, she wasn't going to be able to put out a lot of damage herself. And then the Minwoo can put out a surprising amount of damage, but not enough to 3v1. So, unfortunately, like what Maechen said before, I think was spot on. I think that Liarte was wearing that bow tie, and so unfortunately, she was the recipient of the quickens and the heals. And I do think that those are probably meant for the A2 if I had to hazard a guess. So those landing on the Liarte, especially that one turn where the Liarte just moved forward and lost a turn of her haste and any other buffs that she had online, was definitely pretty rough to see. So I'm thinking that there just might have been some bugs to kind of work out in that match, and I'm hoping that in the second match we get to see a little bit, if the A2 comes back, get to see the A2 shine just a little bit more there.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how Loji responds to this, if he goes with a different team altogether or if he tweaks this team. It seems like maybe if the position was a little different, where the bow-tied Liarte wasn't as near to the other units, you might have gotten the haste and quickens off of A2 onto A2 or some heals. A2 also has a sub job where I think it's Spellblade, where she could add some magic kind of barriers and resistance, so that might help versus the magic team if Kellz decides to go that route too. But maybe Loji wants to try something else, but we'll find out soon. But that was GG to Kellz on that first win.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, GG's to Kellz, and as you can see, a very dominant team. I would not be surprised if he stuck with that going into the next match.
Okay, in the second round of this first series between Kellz and Loji, we got Kellz bringing the same team of Helena, Kilfei, and Valade. Loji going for a complete switch up, going with Mia, Katone, and Summer Glaciella. Let's see if the change up works.
Let's go. So with Kellz taking the first one with this team, as I mentioned kind of at the end of the last one, I wouldn't be surprised to see if he stuck with it, and he definitely did. Team had a very strong showing, almost everyone was at full health, and I don't even think Valade needed to heal, so the team just kind of went in and dominated, so I do not blame him for sticking, whereas Loji completely swapping things up. I do think the A2 definitely had a chance if the buffs were correct and the quickens were on the A2. But Loji, like I said, perhaps expecting a switch up over on Kellz' side, is going with this team, which is a Mia, Katone, and Summer Glaciella. And I'm trying to wonder exactly what the Glaciella is going to be doing, because I know that her main appeal is that she has that physical aura, and against a full magic team is going to be pretty rough to kind of for her to be able to survive against this team, or to provide a whole bunch of support for this team, I will even say. But one thing that's not to be underestimated is she does have stop in her kit. And so against a whole team of 97 faith units, if the trust stones are not correct there, then there is the chance that this Glaciella can get some cheeky stops off. And not only her, but the Katone as well. So it'll be
stop resist though.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's the stop resist. So I take that back. And the first damage tanked pretty well, as to be expected.
Yep. So here you got Katone hasted up, ready to go. If she's got a Drain Force setup going on. And then we got Mia coming in, doing some taunting over there, gathering the hate, but sitting right in the middle of an AoE. Helena is going to target that hate, but target all three of them too.
Oh.
Pretty tanked pretty well, even by the Mia, only down to half damage. She can be pretty bulky versus magic. Katone did go for the Drain Force. Looks like Bracklow's Helena has some single target resist on, also able to restore her HP with that counter. Now she's hasted up and has some more single target resist, which is a great tech versus this Katone.
Oh.
There's that guaranteed hit though, and we don't need to worry about the Katone anymore. So Summer Glaciella, can you do it? Can you give us oh, she did that basic attack very well. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be rough on Loji's side. The Tenebral Rose coming out, going to lower some dark resist, lower some lifespans as well. Glaciella does heal back. It's a 1v3. It's a tough one for a tank, so I think it's just a matter of time, but let's watch some limit bursts going on. Okay, decent damage. Valade's gonna go. Does he have some more buffs in store? Will he try something offensive? Let's see. Yep, reapplies the Ice Vitalization. Glaciella with 29 AP. What is she going to pull out? Woven Claws, just a little bit of chips. So just I think that's all she wrote on this one, Chisei. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much the Summer Glaciella can do. The only thing that I think could have even been remotely possible is just her surviving until the stop buff to wear off, and I think that if that did happen, then maybe she would have a chance to potentially stop the units, but I mean, even then she would need to be able to deal damage to bring them low enough health. There's like a 1 in a billion chance it was there, but I think even just the actions left would not have let that happen. So unfortunately, yeah, I think the ketone, I think this team that Loji brought was probably meant as a call out for a different team, because like I said, I don't believe that the Summer Glaciella would have been the choice against this Magic team here. And like I said, I might be wrong, and there might have been some strategy that I'm not thinking of, but I think that was probably a hard read for a different team. That being said, Kellz' team, just like the first match, dominated and put on a fantastic show. Tons of survivability as seen, and then also lots of just damage. Plenty of damage. I will say one thing that was a little unfortunate though was the counter from that Black Rose Helena. The counter was enough to bring Ketone down below her courage threshold. That way she was able to get one shot, or essentially one shot by the Kill Fae, which basically took away all the chances that Loji had to win that match.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, that was a big move in terms of getting her below the threshold so that her courage would not proc when it was followed up with some damage at the next move. So, and then losing Ketone was probably the main DPS with her Drain Force, but there seemed to be a lot of single target resist, and then you had Valade able to do his fast cast, which adds even more single target resist to units, so it would have been hard for the Drain Force to cut through that anyways at this point, at least in terms of the amount of damage the other side was putting out as well to keep up with it. So unfortunately for Loji, it didn't work out. He played well all season. Congratulations to him for getting this far. Kellz will be going on to the next round to face Ram 9. He's earned the right to face him in the next round, so congratulations to him.
Yep, congratulations to Kellz, and I'm excited for that upcoming match. GG's to both players, and really fun match to watch.
Okay, in our second series to see who faces off against Surf Taco next round, we have KoushouHaou with the Mundificant Warriors, this time showing in match 1 Surges, Brilliant Lucio, and Marial, going against Isvar's Elda Enthusiast League with Fang, Minwoo, and Surges. Let's get this game 1 started.
Yep, let's get into it. All right. So starting off over on KoushouHaou's side, we got the Lucio Mariel combo, which is a very strong combo, as I very much like, as you all know. One of my favorites. And then over on Isvar's side, we have the patented Fang with the Minwoo and Surges, who we've seen a lot of this season. So very strong teams on both sides. I wouldn't put money on either of these teams. I think this is going to be a very close and competitive match. We have both the Surges running up towards the middle immediately. Mariel's probably going to be in range. Yep, in range to hit her Mind Crusher right now.
Yeah, get some spirit down on the Surges as Minwoo hastes up Fang. Fang's going to jump in with a Blit. Little damage on the tank. Minwoo charging again. And Lucio's going to come up and has a turn for one more buff as he runs forward. Surges, let's see if he can leap into the action right here. With a leaping assault, he does. Takes a little bit more damage off of Isvar's Surges. He's going to be able to respond to the Mariel and Lucio, who are standing next to each other, to get some damage started. Minwoo hasted up, and Mariel's turn. She's still got more than 10k HP. She's taking her time to do a level 4 Banishka. Isvar's Surges still hanging in there. And here comes the Limit Burst from Fang. So we know what kind of damage this can do if she gets that splash. Let's see how much damage. Under 8k, and then a splash of about 6k to Mariel, but no one dies. They both survived that, and it did not hit the Lucio, which is very big. KoushouHaou is glad to see that, I'm sure. Let's see how Lucio can respond. Is he able to hit? Just going after the Surges and taking him out of the map. He kind of tips it to a 3 versus 2, although the 2 on KoushouHaou's side are low health. That Mariel hanging in there still. A drain zone from Fang, taking out Yeah, both units. Now you got a 2 versus 1, but that one is Lucio, so let's see how he can respond. Will he be able to hit the back line and take out that Minwoo? He does able to hit her, but not enough to even go to half health for her. She gonna trigger a heal onto Fang. Yep, looks like Isvar is in good position at this point, but let's see. She has to resort to a basic attack. But she does lap and gets another attack, but very little damage. So Lucio is not out of it. Minwoo, probably not going for a heal there because no one's low enough. Probably reapplying some haste. Lucio still has plenty of AP. Let's see what he goes for this time. This time, much more damage on the Minwoo. If he's able to lap her, he should be able to take her out, but she is very fast. She's going to heal up, but who's she going to heal up? She does heal up herself. If Lucio can take out the Fang because of that, that would be good for KoushouHaou. He has 40 AP left, so still in good position there. And he is able to take out the Fang, so he did tip it. That is pretty big right there. Minwoo being in that AoE range of Lucio just did not help in general because then she was healing herself over Fang. Looks like Lucio has this one done. It's just going to go back and forth between some heals and some attacks. We have 9 turns remaining, and the corpses are filling up some of those turns, so let's see. Lucio now out of AP, so he gets the basic attack, and we get a counter heal. It looks like it may go to turns. Minwoo does not want to die. Let's see. Lucio, 21 AP now. What move does he get? The Lupine Rend. It's a double hit, but still not enough to take her out. Minwoo, now she gets to speed up to the end of the match a little faster. Gets one more move. Lucy gets one more attack. It looks like that's going to make the difference in terms, unless she counter cures. She could counter cure.
That's true.
So let's see what this Esper does. We get to see a little Odin animation for our Esper animation fans out there. Does about 5.5k. Is there a counter cure? There is not. So he's going to pull off the win. Chisei, what do you think of that match?
Yeah, I think that the Lucio was built incredibly well, to put it shortly, as that he tanked so much damage that fight, more than I think the Mariella and the Surges tanked, honestly. Not only that, but he put out some really good damage too. So the fight itself, it kind of got off to a very kind of messy brawl because both of the Surges kind of leap into the other side's back lines, and they both have hate, so with whatever builds that they have, so a lot of them were just focusing on the Surges for the first half of the match. But once the other units started getting involved, the Mariel died actually pretty quickly, or relatively quickly, and didn't have that much of an impact on the fight, because it was down to a Lucio 1v2 pretty early on. And in fact, I think it was even a 1v3, maybe even at one point. Maybe it was just a 1v2, but either way, but Lucio was able to not only make that comeback, but make it in a pretty dominating fashion. Like, he was at full health, and the only way that he could have potentially lost that fight was if that Minwoo did get off the counter cure, in which case I think it would have been a tie, because they both would have been 100% health, which would have been super fun to see a tie as the first first match of the series. But fortunately / unfortunately, we don't get to see that this time around.
Yeah, that ending was incredibly close. You wouldn't think so, like seeing Lucio versus Minwoo, but it all came back to her healing, being able to top herself off each time. Lucio had that last move, all determined on that counter, which she didn't proc. So therefore, she didn't have 100% health. Therefore, he pulled off the win at the end. So yeah, a very impressive showing by that Lucio. On Isvar's side, the team was set up pretty well, where he did seem to have some potential to win there. But again, since the Minwoo and Fang were a little too close together to each other, and Lucio was able to hit them both, Minwoo did have to choose a target for her heals at one point, and so Fang wasn't able to survive much beyond that, and so that we got the ending that we got. So we'll see how they adjust for the next match. Incredibly close. Do they keep the same teams and just tweak a few things, or do they try to tip the scales by going with different teams? GG's to both players.
Yep, let's see what happens. GG's to both players.
Okay, so in game 2 we see some changes, but a little surprisingly, I'm seeing some changes on KoushouHaou's side, bringing Surges again, but this time with Astrius and Summer Glaciella. Isvar going with the same team, Fang, Minwoo, and Surges. He did lose with that team, but as we said, it was very close, so maybe he just tweaked some things and hoped to win, but let's get into it and see what happens.
Yep. So coming out from KoushouHaou's side, I don't hate this change up because having won the last match, he kind of has a game to play around with. So he's able to kind of, I won't say mind game, but kind of try and predict a change up from Isvar, because Isvar did end up losing with this team. Even though it was very close, like Maechen said, he did end up losing. So I wouldn't be upset if Isvar changed his team, but I also think that was a very smart move to keep it because of how close it was. Keeping it seems to have been a really good move, because bringing 2 water characters against this Fang Lightning DPS, I think that this Fang is going to be able to put in some really good damage. The only thing that might stymie that a little bit is that Summer Glaciella, her physical aura can... It's like you can almost forget about elemental advantage sometimes because of how much damage that can mitigate. So it really depends on how much damage that this Fang can get through that physical aura, and maybe potentially separating her from the rest of the team somehow, but it looks like they're pretty close knit, so I don't know if that's going to actually happen. But it looks like the first damage is going to be coming out here shortly. Not from the Surge, he's not in range to leap in, but it looks like the Surge is over from Isvar's side, so looks like they're going to be able to pull off the first blood here.
It does look like he's in range. He should be able to do something. Able to hit both the Glaciella and the Astris for little damage, but starts off the match. Fang comes in. Let's see how she starts. Does she do... Yep. Smite. Big damage. That element advantage playing in very favorably to Isvar's side, but KoushouHaou's not out of it. He's got Astris. We know that he can do some major things, especially if he gets his limit burst popped off with the follow-up attacks, but let's see what he chooses to do. He does go for, is he going targeting the Minwu, it looked like?
It looks like it.
Which would be big for his side to cut out that support. Let's see if the follow-up finishes her off. Oh, but he can't finish her off. Let's see if she's able to heal back from that, or Glaciella here can finish her off now. Let's see where she moves into position. Yep, she is able to finish up the Minwu. So that is pretty big. Really Fang is still going against 2 water units, but taking out the healer support on Isvar's side is something KoushouHaou would like to see. Surge is not the first one dead in this match, going after those units, and he's slowed Isvar's Surges. Fang doing some damage. We got some rotation going on, so I'm just trying to get a little irritated myself. Sorry about that. Surges responding with attack on the tank Glaciella, and we got Astris, who has his follow-up online. Who's he going to target? Probably target he gets both of them. Doing some damage and some poison onto the Surges. Glaciela's turn. And she lands the stop on Surges, so things are not looking good for Isvar. Fang is not out of it yet. She's kind of, now definitely in a 3-1. She's full health though, and she does seem to be in good position to get an AoE or maybe that limit burst. Nope, she goes for the AoE. So close. Almost taking out the Astris, but almost is not going to cut it yet. Let's see what these water units can do against Fang. We got some surfing going on from Glaciella. Very little damage. Let's see how the chains go. Looks like Astris will get to do a Bulwark Breach with some follow-up, taking her down to low, but everyone seemed to be a little bit low now, except for Surges. We don't get to see that too often. But he gets that Fang down to about 300 health. She's going for her limit burst. If this says it's on Glaciella, but if it does big damage on her, it's going to splash. Okay, so about a little more than 5k, proccing both Courages, but it might be a little too late. Here comes, let's see what, we got another Odin. He keeps making appearances in our matches here. Procs the Courage on Fang finally, but it looks like Surges should be able to get the win right here. And he does. So KoushouHaou pulls off the win versus the Isvar. Interesting match. Chisei, what do you think?
Yeah. Would it be a WBL Season 2 playoffs without Sergej's finishing the fight? But... yeah, I mean, it was a very close match. I'm surprised that the water units managed to pull it off. The Fang was actually putting out some very good damage to the point where I actually thought that she had it in the bag. That being said, the Summer Glaciella did mitigate a bunch of that damage. I would be very curious to see how much damage that Astris would have taken without the Summer Glaciella next to him. But I will say that also, I think that Minwu probably had Bowtie on would be my guess, because if you look at the positioning on the map, KoushouHaou's units are basically over on the other side of the map. They're basically over at his spawn, so they probably didn't expect them to cross the map so quickly, and probably thought that Minwoo would have been a little safer further in the back. But unfortunately, it looks like the Astraeus was able to target her with his limit burst, so that so that she was the first one taking it out. I mean, it could have been another reason why she was the first one. Maybe he's just who he could have done the most damage against. Everyone was at equal hate. I'm not entirely sure, but like I said, it could have been the case that she had bow tie on or something, so that she stayed back. Either way, the Minwoo being taken out early, I think was I mean, that's my key of the match. I think that Minwoo, you've seen what happens if she lives. You saw it just in the previous match. You know, she lasted until the very end of the fight and almost ended the fight with full health as well. So yeah, I think the Minwoo being taken out right away was just massive over for KoushouHaou.
If it was a bow tie Minwoo, that would be an interesting strategy, because we saw in the first match that her problem was that she ran too close to Fang and ended up in those AoEs. So maybe Isvar responded by trying to hold her back, but unfortunately not out of range from the damage dealers. And once that Minwoo's out, the healing's off. But Fang still hung in there as long as she could. I mean, she procced both their courages. She was making a decent comeback, but she was a 1 versus 3, which is very, very hard to do, even with the element advantage on 2 of the units. And it just seemed to be too much in the end. Well-built team by KoushouHaou. Even though he changed up after he won the first one, he still was able to build that bulk to handle a lightning Fang. Well done by him. Both players, I think, played very well all season. Both have very strong teams. It just happened to be KoushouHaou's series this time, and he'll be able to go on to face Surf Taco next week.
Yep. So GG's to both players. Really fun match. Love seeing Isvar's team, and absolutely congrats to KoushouHaou for taking the win there and being the one to fight Surf Taco next week.